Hello, Megan. Welcome to Power Women Wellness. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great today. Thank you so much, Dr. Lahana, for having me today.
Yes, I really love your unique business. So I haven't seen that yet. And so when you reached out, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is very unique and would love to tie into this travel aspect into wellness. And like, obviously, this is what you do for business. But before we get started, I'd love for you to tell me more about like what you do and what brought you into creating this business.
Absolutely. So I own Cherish Tours. I gave myself the title founder and chief memory creator because I think that's the most important part of my business is creating memories for women who choose to join us. We offer travel experiences around the world that also support female entrepreneurship in the destinations that we go to.
I
And
love
we
that.
Thank you. And really what led me here was burnout. Just
Yeah.
plainly is I used to work in conference planning and I was planning more than 15 citywide conferences a year, which was a big thing to have on my desk at the start of my career. I started in planning only around 22, 23, and was managing conferences at 23, 24 years old. And it
Gosh,
really
that's a lot.
sent me, it was. And it sent me into a tailspin because I didn't have the support that I needed. And I didn't know much about wellness at the time and how to take care of myself. And the lack of purpose made me burn out in my career and go searching for something that would create more positive impact.
Oh, I love that. I would love to even go back to like the passion behind that because that is so true. And that's why I always tell all my friends who are kind of like in a work slump and they're like, what should I do next? Or what job should I look for? And I'm always like, well, you have to like first start off with like, what are you passionate about? Because in this day and age, I feel like anything, even if it's something, I don't even, I don't want to say stupid, that's not the word I'm looking for. Something too, oh, what's the word? I'm totally spacing on the word I'm looking for. Too simple, too like, oh my gosh, I could never make that a business. I'm like, no, you can like I've seen people make businesses out of rocks. Like that's what I'm saying. It's like so
Mhm.
it's like start off with like what are you passionate about and go from there. You can always make something work. So I love that you even realize that on such an early scale in the grand scheme of things, because I feel like there's 50-year-olds that are kind of stuck and they aren't passionate about what they do and it's just a paycheck, which obviously I know that's needed at times, but I love that you just kind of, I don't know, changed your life and like had courage to do that because that isn't easy to do.
I think talking about COVID is kind of a faux pas at this point. People like to
Yeah.
pretend it never happened. But really, the pandemic is what helped give me the courage. It was the
Wow.
shove out the door that I needed because I was working really hard at trying to find my exit plan and what would help me transition into something that felt more meaningful. And entrepreneurship was not my first thought. I was like, I just need to
Yeah.
work for another company that's going to have more purpose. It's going to lean more to my passions. And through that journey, I discovered that it didn't exist and I needed to create it.
Yeah.
And really getting furloughed around July of 2020
Oh my
was the
gosh. Yeah, you're in
oh,
the industry that really got hit with COVID because everyone's like
oh
not
for
meeting in
sure.
person.
Exactly. So that was the wide open door and the permission I needed to take the time to figure out what was my next step. And Cherish was born, and the
I
idea
love
came to me
that.
around October of 2020. So
Oh,
that's
I
where it
love
started.
that. Yay. And share with us more about your health journey too, because you mentioned you having a heart incident and how that kind of helped you pivot and like kind of look into wellness, maybe for like the first time in your life. So I'd love to like hear more about that journey.
Yeah. So I actually I travel quite a bit, but not nearly as much as even some executives, and not that I need to compare myself to others, but it was something that came from me pushing myself too hard, even in my passion.
Yeah.
So I made my passion my career, and that made it more difficult to participate in regular wellness or regular just like taking care of my personal needs because the thing I loved most and the thing that gave me a break from work became work, and that was travel.
Yeah.
And so I went to Panama on a work trip just to do a sourcing trip to host trips there in the future. And I went with a photographer to take some great photos and do the rest. And it was an amazing trip. I had the best time. But I came back from that trip with a viral infection that ended up leading to my heart and giving me something called pericarditis, which luckily is not um, anything with your heart is terrifying, but
For sure.
it's not a heart attack, it's not a
Yeah.
stroke, it's not life threatening unless you don't address it quick enough. And luckily, I caught it pretty early on. And so I just needed to be on some viral medication and things that help my heart. But it led to a lot of anxiety in my regular routines, in trying to exercise, in taking too long of a walk, anything that made my heart beat too hard gave me anxiety. And
Which
so
then makes your heart beat hard.
true. But yeah, so it was a reset for me to figure out how do I have better balance in now that I have a job that I love, how do I also treat my personal life as something that deserves the same amount of attention.
Yeah.
So, 2025, I literally for this year, instead of having a ton of goals that are specific to building my business, I've pivoted to have a lot of my goals be specific to building my personal wellness and mental health. And
Aw.
I've just shifted the mindset around, okay, the business stuff happens naturally and will follow as long as I'm taking care of myself.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I know. And that is scary. So, so scary. And you're talking to like a homebody here. So I love that we're like we're talking about travel. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, this is why I prefer not to. I love my home. I love routine. You can ask my husband. He literally has to like pull me out like by my pinky toe to like go travel somewhere. Like that's how much I love being home. And I feel like to me, travel is such a disruption. So I love that like you love travel. And most honestly, I'm like the only person I feel like in the world that feels that way. Cause I feel like all my friends are like, you're absolutely crazy, Lahana. What are you talking about? And I just blame my parents. Okay. My parents, I think I might have traveled like once. And I think because I just didn't get that. So obviously we're doing that with our kids. So I feel like obviously now we travel and I make sure that they are, have those experiences and maybe have a heart for it. But me, no, not at all. So I just love how we're all coming on different sides of the spectrum, which is really cool. But anyways, I know how much joy and stuff it brings. And so did that give you, I don't know, did that change or make you more fearful or anything of traveling? Or no, like that didn't bother you at all?
No, I don't think so. I
Okay,
think
that's
travel
awesome.
is, yeah, I I think people would maybe expect a different answer, but travel is the thing that I love most in the world. And
Oh,
I'm actually an introvert, so I think that's you're not alone in the I love my home, I love being home, I love being around the people who make me comfortable. That's me too, but I love expanding my knowledge and my
yeah.
horizons and everything by gaining new experiences, and I don't think I could ever give that up. It's definitely changed the way that I travel. I think it's
Okay.
made me lean a bit more into being what you would consider a slow traveler. So
Oh,
that means that you stay in a place a little bit longer than bouncing from place to place. So as an
okay.
example, if you're taking a trip to Italy, like since it's such a popular destination, instead of taking a week-long trip to Italy and hitting 5 different cities because it's the one and only time you think you're ever going to hit Italy, you go
So
to Italy
overwhelming.
for a week to 10 days and you choose 1 to 2 destinations so that it's a bit slower, and you get
Yeah.
to immerse yourself a bit more in the local culture, walking around, having more relaxation and rejuvenation time. Like, I don't like to take a vacation anymore that feels like I need a vacation from my vacation when I get home.
Yes, 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 yes. That's actually like any trouble for me, whether it's long or short. Yeah, exactly. I feel like I actually become more overwhelmed coming back home and getting into my normal routine back, because it's just like such a break. But I love that for you. Like that's so awesome. And I know also traveling can get really tricky with taking care of your wellness because obviously like I said, I come home, I have all my things, I have all my workout, I have all my things here, and so easier than when I'm traveling. I mean, obviously I feel like if you're a pro traveler, you probably got it down on lock of like what do I need, what do I take, and obviously like wherever you travel you can find like I don't know gyms. You don't even need gyms. I mean, you could like go on walks, all that stuff, and explore. But what are some ways that you've incorporated, because this is what you do for business, you've incorporated wellness into traveling, like how I don't know, whether it's like supplements or non-negotiables in your activity or mindset. Like, what do you do for your wellness when you're traveling?
I think that's such a great question because really a lot of people think that just taking the trip constitutes enough of a reset to be considered wellness for their health. And while I totally agree with that, you also have to design your itinerary and the things that you're doing with intention so that the trip feels like wellness and rejuvenating and things like that, instead of just like we were just talking about being a very on the go, 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 go type of situation that you don't even get a chance to feel like yourself or truly experience the destination. So with Cherish, I always incorporate those types of wellness activities into our itineraries. We pretty much on every trip do a yoga session, do some type of cooking class, do something that gives you an opportunity to pause and reset a bit. We create downtime in our itineraries as well. And I do that for myself personally when I travel alone, just because downtime for me is so important. If you're someone who wants to take a nap or relax by the pool, then you have the opportunity to do so during that downtime. Or if you are someone who likes to go explore or go shopping or get souvenirs, you can also do that during the downtime. Creating that space for you to decide exactly what you want to do is something that doesn't happen very often, especially I think in women's lives and especially mothers' lives. Like, when do you get to choose regularly? Like, this is
Yeah.
what I want to do, so I'm going to do it. So I think that creating that space for yourself and me doing that for myself when I travel is such a huge part of my wellness. Some of
I
my,
love that. I love that. Can
thank
you tell my
you.
husband that? Because he's the one that's just like, oh my gosh, let's do this. And so, oh my gosh, yes, I become exhausted. I mean, he knows me though, so he'll plan things without me, so I can do that. But I'm like, oh my gosh, I could just, I don't know, yeah, go to a hotel, sit by the pool, and that's all. And I'm like, travel.
Yeah,
I know obviously you're supposed to, yeah, get in the culture and stuff, but that's just like, yeah, that's my idea of like fun and relaxation. But yeah, my husband's like the opposite of go, go, go. We're doing this activity, this activity. Like too much, too much.
yes, I think that really when you're not the one that's fully planning it, you have to look at the itinerary that you've been given. And I'm sure based on what you're saying about your husband, he might be a little bit type A. So he's got the
Totally.
whole, yeah, so he's got the whole itinerary put together for you. Just take it from him before you go on the trip and be like, okay,
Hold up.
this one and this one I'm very not interested in. So you do that and I won't.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I love that. I mean, I also love that you mentioned that just going on the trip is not, I mean, is it part of wellness, but like there's more to it than that because I definitely agree. Like it's just like, oh, I'm going on vacation. This is where we're going. But again, there's not a lot of rest and relaxation in it. It's just go, go, go. It's just somewhere else and it's fun, but you're not getting that full rejuvenation effect. If you're like my husband's like type A and stuff. But
Yeah,
I'm
I
glad that
think
you
that
brought that up.
Yeah, definitely. I think that removing yourself from your routine definitely helps with your wellness because it helps you assess what's most important to you and what you really want to be doing and who you
Yeah.
show up as most authentically outside of your regular routine. But I think that certain things that are involved in your wellness routine at home can be taken with you when you travel. So, for example, I do a daily journal in the morning and in the evening, and it's a prompt journal and it has me write an affirmation for each day. And I bring that when I travel as well because it really helps me set my intention for the day and also bring awareness to the way that I want to spend my day. So I think that there's just ways, small ways that you can incorporate your wellness routine while you travel.
I love that. I agree. What is in your bag for anything that's wellness related? Like, are you packing anything? I am literally the bougiest person ever. So if we're driving, especially if we're not flying, your girl is packing like her non-toxic pans. I know I'm absolutely crazy. If we have an Airbnb, I am packing like my air purifier as much as possible. And I think I even have a littler one, but sometimes if we're driving, like I'll pack my big like air doctor, my supplements, like honestly, it's comical the amount that I like bring. And so my husband's solution is just like, what we need to do is we just need to have like homes around the world, or around the US, and we want to go to the mountains. Guess what? You have everything there you need. I'm like, you know what? That sounds like a fabulous solution to why I pack so much. But do you have anything that you pack in your bag for your wellness?
Yeah, I just mentioned my journal. I always bring
Yep.
it. Then I also like to bring some type of craft or like painting or watercolor or
Mm,
something like that, so that during my downtime, I think one of my biggest ways of taking care of myself is trying to be creative and having an outlet. So I pack something like that to bring, even if it's just a coloring book, an adult coloring
I
book.
love that. There's some really cute ones. I bought my daughter some. I think they're more for like maybe teens, but they're so cute and I find myself coloring them.
Yes, it's fantastic. And then I always pack a book. I love to read.
Me too.
And if books are super heavy, so now I usually just download a few to my phone or my iPad and bring it with me.
Yeah.
Then speaking of supplements, for me, I always bring my multivitamin and some other like couple of supplements that I are non-negotiable for me.
Yeah.
And then I think the only other thing that might be semi-unique is that I do bring my skincare routine with me. And I typically bring at least, if I'm gone for a week, I tend to bring at least one face mask so that I can have like a face mask night. But
I
that's
love
about
that.
it. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I know you mentioned too on one of the things that you do for your wellness is getting your nails done. And I'm so glad you shared something like that's really different. But what does that do for you?
So I am similar to your husband. I tend to be on the go and a very type A person. And one of the biggest things that I struggle with in my own anxiety journey is the lack of the ability to sit still. And
Yes.
I fidget quite a bit. And so when I'm getting my nails done, someone has complete hold over both of my hands, and you can't really do anything but get your nails done. So it's a really nice time for me
Yeah.
to practice sitting still and to be really just in that moment. I can't check texts, I can't review my email, I can't do anything else. So it's like my 1.5 hours of like truly unplugging from the world. And so, yeah, that's why I love getting my nails done.
It's so true. And that's actually like one of the things that I dislike about getting nails is that and actually I definitely have a lot more balance than yes, like my husband who like is on the go all the time and like always checking emails and stuff. But yes, I guess that's a love-hate, right? Like it forces you to do that. But then at the same time, I'm like, I really want to check that. So I feel like I like met in the middle of like, okay, I don't love the amount of time that takes. So I love press-ons. So I do olive and
Mm-hmm.
June. And so usually if I'm like just watching like a show or something, I will, or honestly, sometimes if I'm on meetings that like I don't need my hands, I'm like low key just like putting on my nails. And it's just like, yeah, it's a way for me to like keep busy, but like be able to. I love pretty nails. I'm taking a break from them, but I love pretty nails. It's like my favorite thing ever. So I'm with you there. I'm down for petties, but I usually will bring my laptop and like do some work and things like that. So I know I, the amount of time it takes for nails is it's just a long time. But like you said, like I think that's awesome that that kind of forces you to be like, no, sorry, you can't do anything. You're getting your nails done.
Exactly. And I think you saying I love pretty nails is so valid. I think a lot of times people are like, oh, me taking care of the way that I look doesn't count as wellness. And I would totally disagree. Like when you
Yeah,
feel most confident about yourself and you can show up in the world like in a way that you're presenting your best self, for me, that's getting my
100%.
nails done. Then it's just like a way of taking care of you. And any way of taking care of you to me counts as wellness.
I agree. I agree. Do you do anything? Do you have any workout routines or any types of exercise that you really like? Have you been able to get maybe back to normal since your heart? Because I know you mentioned the heart rate was a big concern at one point.
I worked with a personal trainer last year, and
Nice.
that helped me pace myself in a way that just someone was checking on me and like there for me in case I was going to have a whole meltdown during
Yeah.
a workout. So that helped me get back to a regular routine. For me now, I have a dog and he's the best ever. And we just
Mm.
like to go on long walks together. So my typical like health and wellness as far as working out goes is long walks with my dog. And then I have a walking pad as well. So
Oh, me
uh,
too. Love it.
love my walking pad and I will walk for an entire episode of something. Watch Orange is the New Black or The Greatest
I love
British Baking Show or all of those things and just
that.
walk for an episode so that um, I think it's like an hour episode, you'll hit like 3 miles. So
Oh,
it's,
nice. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
so that's one of my favorites.
I love my walking pad for sure. It is something I think like my goal is always like at least 8K. If I get more, great. But even on my busy days, like, okay, oh my gosh, I've only walked like 3,500 steps. And not so much to obsess about the number, but it's just like that tells me that like I haven't just been active enough and I've been sitting down a lot. So
Yeah,
yeah, the walking pad is amazing, especially if you have, well, I mean, your job is on the go, but like when you're home, I'm sure it's more sedentary versus when you're traveling, I'm sure you're like on the go more and
yes.
probably have no problem getting like steps in and stuff.
Yeah. When you
Um,
travel, it's crazy how easy it is to hit 10,000 steps in a day.
oh, I
And you're
bet.
like, when I'm home, why is it so hard?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like most people's lives are more on the sedentary end, because a lot of work is done now back through computers, and so
hmm
unless I had a walking pad, gosh, I would have so much. I would have to be very mindful. I don't have to be as mindful as other people, but if you don't have access to like a walking pad, yeah, you have to be mindful of like morning and then evening, the times that you can walk. So now, yeah, I can just do it anytime, which is great. Well, except podcasts because I don't want the
Yeah.
sound in the background, but for the most part, I can even like be like with the patient and like walking pretty the slowest speed possible, but like it's still be getting some movement in, which is great. So I
That's
love that.
great. Yeah.
What about food? Do you have any like healthy meals that you love creating or eating on a regular basis?
Yeah. My favorite as of late is a Tudo recipe. It's literally
Ooh.
Greek yogurt, plain Greek yogurt, and self-rising flour. And it's just a much
Hmm.
healthier way of creating dough. So you can use it to make bagels, to make non-pita, to make pizza, to make calzones, all these different things. And it helps you have a higher protein intake than just a traditional dough. So that
I'm
one's one of
surprised
my
you didn't
favorites.
say cottage cheese because like
Oh,
that
yeah.
reminds me of that, like that trend.
Yep.
Okay, that's so cool. Well,
Similar.
awesome. Okay, so everything you mentioned too is like you're very creative. I can tell, like with the coloring books and paint, I feel like you're a very creative person. Is that has it always been that way?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was always into those types of things. I got my hair colored for the first time when I was like 12 because my mom was like, you need a creative outlet and this is appropriate. And so, yeah, so that was me. And I've stuck with that my whole life. And my nails right now are bright pink marble.
Love that.
So,
Oh,
I always have something a little bit wild going on.
I love that. I can see that. I can sense that. Well, thank you so much for coming on our podcast and sharing more about like what you do and especially the wellness while traveling part. And I love that you brought so much wellness of honestly the whole idea of everything you mentioned. I feel like is just adding more fun. And I agree. Like I feel like with reducing stress and reducing burnout and just bringing back more fun into our lives. And it doesn't have to be like something like traveling, even though it's there. But I love like it's a simple thing, like a coloring book, or like I don't know, even playing like a phone game. I just feel like we're all kids inside, and we've gotten into such a work and hustle culture mode that we just kind of forget to just have fun and do things that I don't know. Maybe they're like, what is a 35-year-old doing? You know, why are they doing that? Because guess what? We're not the ones that are burnt out. because we're going back to the things that we loved when we were a kid. And for me, that actually with my kids, I started playing Sims with them because I played it when I was
Mm.
younger.
Hmm.
And so I started showing my daughter it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I miss this so much. Like I remember loving this as a kid, like spending all weekend doing it. And so when I was playing with my daughter, I'm like, oh my gosh, we started playing together. It was so fun. And it's just, again, bringing like just fun and whatever that looks like for you. I love books too. It's just amazing. It's so cool that I see that in you of just all the things that like in your priority, like to pack like your downtime things. And I just love that. I just think that we just need to honestly be kids again.
I totally agree. I'm so happy that you said playing Sims because there was a woman who took one of my trips, took a Cherish trip actually towards the beginning of our travel offerings, and she asked a question that still resonates with me. It was, when was the last time you played? And as an adult, I think it's so important to
Yeah.
think about like having those moments of complete play. It doesn't
Yes.
need to be like a child playtime with like toys and dolls or whatever, but when's the last time you like let yourself have no inhibitions and just play?
Yeah, 100%. I know I asked that to some of our patients and literally they'll be like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, that's an that's an issue.
Right.
And again,
Exactly.
it looks different for everyone. But actually, I feel like I will get into this when I'm like in my 60s or something because I love watching it like on Instagram is when people build these like and I actually don't know how to build, so I don't know what I'm doing, but these like doll houses and there's like
Mm.
miniature. It's like a modern home but it's like miniature, like modern furniture. And I'm like, I can totally see myself like building something like that for like a grandchild of just like, I don't know, just like an outlet, a fun outlet, and building
Yes.
something for them, like memory. But it's like so fun for me to be like, let me decorate this mini house for you. Anyways, I do feel like we just kind of need to find what that is for us and whether it is things that we played as a kid or it's something new. Yeah, I feel like that can be one part of wellness. I feel like we are overlooking because sometimes we're still kind of anal of like, okay, I saw it. Okay, I took my supplements. Okay, I did this. I got my 8,000 steps. And it's just like, relax.
Yeah. Take
Like,
care of you.
yes. Just, yes. Stop putting like always trying to measure all these things. Like, they're important. We need to do them,
Hmm.
but just getting back to fun. So I love that you really brought that in on this episode. So where can we find you? Where social media, website, where can people connect?
Everywhere you can find me is Go Cherish Tours. So our website is gocherishtours.com. Our Instagram is Go Cherish Tours at Go Cherish Tours. And then Facebook is the same.
Yay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Megan.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Lahana, for having me.